Welcome to Last Stitch Effort. This is my podcast about using up my stash and not adding any more, but more on that later. My name's Pacasha, and I'm joining you today from New Mexico, as always. And it's a nice gloomy day, so this is the perfect day for knitting and a perfect day for finally wearing something knitted after months and months of it being in 80s, 90s, 100 degrees. So we'll start with that actually. So this is what I'm wearing. This is a shawl that I talked about last episode, and it's my hand spun and Holstgarn Coast, which you may know I'm trying to use up the Holstgarn Coast in my stash right now. Anyway, so it's with this, and I kind of planned it along with some of the colors in this dress, which is, I'm going to try to stand up here. This may not turn out very well, but whatever. This is a Hinterland dress made from an old bed sheet. It has pockets. Anyway, and then I'm also wearing, I have the skirt hiked and unbuttoned at the bottom, and then I have lacy bloomers, which is 100 acts of sewing, pants number 1, and I just cut them off short and I add some lace on the bottom. And I pretty much wear a dress or skirt with bloomers every day because, I mean, my 5-year-old self loves it. So, anyway, so yeah, this is Hinterland. I've made several of them. You'll probably see more if I continue to do this. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my outfit today. It may get hot. It may not get hot. I might feel hot. Therefore, I may take this off in a bit. But so far, I kind of like it. I like it together, and we're good. Okay, so I guess first off, we will talk about my finished object this week, which is this little hat right here. This is the Perfect Reversible Watch Cap by Nancy Elizabeth Munroe. This is the 11th or 12th one that I've made. I used Barrett Wool Co. Home Fingering Weight. This color is peppercorn. This one's red flannel. Now, I had originally planned to do this whole thing in peppercorn, but I didn't realize when I bought the yarn that it was for a kit and it wasn't the full 100 grams in the skein. It was 50 grams per color. So I did not have enough to finish this whole hat, but that's okay because whatever, it's cute, it works, and I have been reassured that it will be received well, so I would wear it, but spin pins kind of ruin knitwear. Just a little tip. So I have some left. I stopped early on the gray because I thought if I waited until I got like right up to the decreases that it wouldn't look intentional. I don't know. It was spur of the moment thing. I'm like, oh, I'll stop and I'll start with the red. So that's just what I did. I still have another almost full 50 grams of the white color, which is picket fence, and it'll be something. Someday soon these will be out of the stash. Now, we'll get to more about stash management later. Hopefully I don't forget. It's one of those days. Anyway, so I do have some left, but not much, and I have a finished object. So, yay. But that's the only finished object that I have this week, and that's okay. I say that a lot, don't I? That's okay. It's okay. It's just knitting. So now I will talk about works in progress. I have 2, and only 2, except for my crocheted leftover blanket, which doesn't count because that's a forever work in progress. Y'all, it's one of those days. Anyway, so what I am doing is I am making a top similar to the one that I showed you, was it last week? I think it was last week. So basically it's 2 rectangles, and then you seam it at the arms with a little space for your head, and then you seam a little bit like this is a rectangle. Oh my gosh. So you seam here, head, seam here, seam a little bit here and a little bit here, and it's oversized and it makes a nice boxy like poncho type top, whatever. So the first one I followed kind of a pattern. I changed it up a bit. And the second one I still had a lot of Holstgarn Coast, which is, you know, I'm trying to get that part out of the stash at least. Like, to every last inch. Like, I won't always just stick with a yarn until I run out. Like, I will let it simmer in, you know, the background for a bit. But this time I'm really focusing on getting the coast out. Or not getting it out, but using it up. Anyway, I'm super motivated to do it and I'm enjoying doing it. So that's all that really matters. Back to the project. Okay, so the first thing I did was I made this lace panel, and I thought if I did that first, I could use a big chunk of the white. I would know how much I was using, make sure that I had enough yarn to do what I was doing, and get accurate measurements so that I can add either garter or stockinette easier. It's just easier to do the math on what size I would need to fill up this front panel if I did the lace first, because stockinette's super easy to measure gauge versus this. This is kind of a nightmare. Anyway, this is a lace pattern that I took. Oh, there's also a mistake. Where's it at? I'm going to show you because, oh God, this row right here, I just like left a row out. But I'm not going to redo it because it's done and nobody's going to notice except for you guys now. Anyway, this is the panel that I used. I took it from MWAA. Came out with a whole series of shawls based on Elizabeth Zimmerman's, one of her books. And it was the 100th anniversary, maybe, of Elizabeth Zimmerman. And there's a bunch of little patterns that kind of correspond with the things that she talks about in her books. And they're charming and beautiful. And I love Elizabeth Zimmerman. And I loved these patterns. And I knit the whole circular shawl several years ago, but I ended up ripping it out because I wasn't wearing it. And I really regret that. Now I just want to reknit it. Anyway, so I used what's this one called? Willow Leaves. So this is it's a free pattern. MWAA 100th anniversary, easy. I think this one's camping. And so this is the Willow Leaves pattern from that pattern. And so I blocked that out, and this is going to be like the front panel in the middle. And the other two panels will be in just boring stockinette lead, which is kind of a grayish blue from Holst. This is what it looks like. It's really kind of cute. Isn't that cute? Oh, it's pretty. Okay. So I did that first panel so I could get proper measurements. And then I decided the back panel, I didn't want to do just the plain lead. I wanted to add some interest to that too. So I'm doing about 150 stitches all the way across. The first one was 170 and it was a little bit long, so I took a few off, 20 to be precise. And I cast on, I'll show it the proper way. I cast on this, and then I added this nice big lace panel, which used up almost all my white. So now, not white, it's an off-white. I think it might be putty or something. Anyway, and this pattern is, it's the fur cone lace from Evelyn Clark's, I guess I didn't write it down. I think it was Shetland lace triangle. I have a lot of lace, like shawl patterns, and I just kind of find whichever one where the numbers kind of, you know, work appropriately. So this is that. Now in her pattern, she kind of alternates the repeats so that, well, it's just offset. Like this is over here and then back over there, and then these are, yeah. Anyway, I just stacked them on top of each other because it was super easy, and I can just sit and watch trash TV. Not trash TV, but maybe not. whatever. I didn't have to concentrate. And so that will be a nice little band across the back. And then I'm continuing with the lead, just worked plain all the way down. And I'm actually getting pretty close to finishing this panel. And then all I have to do is join them. Nope, I have 2 other panels for the front. Oh, that's okay. It's okay. Anyway, I'm pretty far along. It's going well. I'm enjoying it. And it's using up a lot of yarn that I mean, I can't say that I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I did. Or I do. Just not exactly. It's a fluid design process. Anyway, so that's one work in progress. And I'll just show you. This is the bag of, I'm just going to show you, this is how much I have left of the Holstgarn Coast. So quite a bit still. I've got a few things that I'm thinking about to finish this off, but I would like to use this versus putting it back in there. And we'll talk about that maybe later, maybe not. Let's move on. Okay. This is Prairie Socks by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. And I've been working on this for a while. This is kind of just my travel project or something that I can take with me and not have to think too much. But honestly, I haven't really been anywhere, so I've been doing things like this instead. So I'm actually have turned the heel and I'm on the decreases of the first sock. And it's kind of a pretty little pattern. This yarn is Younger Yarn Showy String in Inara's Syringe, which is a Firefly reference, which is the best TV show, the best one-season TV show ever, I think. Anyway, it's got sparkles in it. I don't know if they're showing up. And I think I was there last time, maybe? Maybe not. So that's coming along. It's fun. Kind of boring, kind of not. Oh, so verbose today. Oh, it's beautiful outside. It's like drizzly. It's my favorite. Okay. So there's that. And I am absolutely taking my time with this one. I don't need socks. I don't care. This is being held in, hey, let's talk about bags. This is probably one of the first Mrs. Brown bags by Jody of the Grocery Girls. She made, yeah. Anyway, this is one of the early ones. Not the first, but pretty early on in the game. And that's what that is in. And my other project is in this one, which I made. And I don't know the name of this fabric. It's really old, but if you know, or you know where I can get some more, I really like this fabric. It's fantastic. Okay. There's a jingly bit on that bag. Okay, the whole point of this podcast is I am trying to work down this stash. You know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll keep saying it every podcast. Every now and then, I'm probably going to slip up and there might be an acquisition. Not every week, I promise you. But this is an exception. So, I love Voolenvine. It's pricey. Kristen does a good job. And she has like a lot of similar interests to me and definitely some similar like color palette preferences. Yeah, there. Okay. This, you guys, I just had to get it. This is called Blackthorn. And it's like richer than it's showing up. Maybe on this side, not on the window side. I don't know. It's Blackthorn. It's based on William Morris fabric design. I don't know. Drawing design. And I had to have it. And obviously I'm a I'm an emotional buyer. Yeah, it was a moment of weakness and a slightly tough time. And so I get this. And I don't care. I love it. And I think I'm knitting more out than in. And this won't happen very often, I promise you. But it did happen. And I'm holding myself accountable. Look. Okay. Let's talk about stash for a few minutes. As I was saying, I'm trying to use up the coast, Holstgarn Coast, that's in my stash. Oh, it's raining now. You may hear it. I don't want to use like every single inch. Like, I'm not going to force myself to do that right now. It's fun, but it's not. I'm not going to make this miserable for me. I am enjoying working on it, and I'm feeling really kind of creative, and it's kind of exciting, to be honest, and I'm getting a little thrill out of using up every section as I can. It is like I start with the largest amounts to get the most bang for my buck, and then whatever's left over at the end, then we'll start doing the fiddly little things, but it's working out for me. So I'm going to keep going with the coast until I run out of inspiration, and then it'll go back in here. I'm trying to keep things from going back in here, which brings me to kind of a talking point. I'm thinking of something called a reverse stash. Yes, I have stash, but I'm thinking this is my, more jingling sounds. This is my little basket. It's one of those rice baskets that flips up. That's, always by my knitting spot. And I'm thinking as I finish things, all that yarn that's left over stays in this basket until I can find a way to use it. And then this is how much space I have to work on the current projects that I'm working on. So it kind of behooves me to use up those little bits so that they're not just lingering in this basket. So I'm calling that my reverse stash. So right now my reverse stash has this bag of coast, and then that's pretty much it. Like, I'll have leftovers of my sock yarn when I'm done with that. Right now I have this, but this is probably just going to go in there because it just has to sit around and be pretty for a while. I don't want to make anything from this yet. Maybe that'll change tomorrow. I don't know. Also, I'm not just going to stick to just 2 projects. I may want to do a 3rd or a 4th or however many, but I am trying to keep things contained in here, and until it's not fun anymore, then I'll do something different, which is kind of the story of my knitting career, so to speak. Another thing I'm going to talk about is kind of my approach on how I choose my projects and what yarn I'm picking. So to give you an example, I bought 2 balls of this Cascade Aegean Tweed a few years ago, and I got it to make Mark, my husband, a scarf, but he has a red scarf already. I don't know what I was thinking, but he loves red, so I'm like, oh, I'll get that for Mark. Well, I ended up making him a Musselburgh hat, which, it's double thickness turned inside out. Yeah. You know what this is because it's super popular right now. Anyway, this used up almost exactly a full skein of it. So I had a full skein left. And usually I would try to find something that would use those 2 skeins. And then if there was a little bit left over, that's great. I prefer to make big projects and then use up the leftovers instead of saying, I'm going to make this little thing out of this huge yarn lot that I have. And I just think that that's kind of wasteful. Like, I would hate to use a small bit of this red in like a pair of mittens and then want to cast on, like, I don't know, a sweater and then be short a few yards. I just think that that's kind of irresponsible for me to do. And I get really annoyed at myself when I do that, and I that's not a practice that I have anymore. So I had a whole skein left over. I should have found something that used 2 skeins, but I was really having a hard time finding something useful that he would like, or that anybody would like, out of that amount. So it got broken up a little bit, but that's okay because I have this hat, then I had leftovers, and oh, these are so cute. And I made these 2 pairs of little red mittens, and these are going to go to my nieces because they need them, because Laura Ingalls had little red mittens, and now my girls are going to have little red mittens, and they're so cute. And so I still had some yarn left over for that, but I only had like this much. And this is a DK weight yarn. I don't use DK very often, but it is kind of squishy, and I feel like depending on what needle size I use, I can use it probably even as a fingering. Well, I actually have a plan for this now, and I think I have exactly enough for that, and that will be one of the new projects that I cast on coming up. So I'm just trying to think of my stash in a more sustainable way, where I'm just being like, I'm using things effectively and efficiently. So I just wanted to give you an example of the journey of these 2 balls of yarn, and inevitably this will come to its end very soon, and that will feel really good to have that used up in a bunch of different projects, and they all go out to different people whom I love very much, and that's fantastic to me. It's, I don't know, I'm a selfish knitter, but not really. I like to knit for other people, and I like to just make things, and if people like them, I give them to them, and sometimes I complain about that afterwards, but whatever. What else did I want to talk about? That might be it. I don't know. I've been rewatching some Gentle Knitter episodes with Nicole, who I love so much, and just her voice brings peace to my heart. So I've been rewatching some of her old podcasts and getting a lot of inspiration from her projects. And then I've also been rewatching Eva. Her channel now is called The Crafted Spoon, and she hasn't posted anything in a long time, which is, you know, obviously she's allowed to do that. But I do like rewatching some of her old episodes as well. It was also called The Charm of It. And I like, you know, getting inspired by her because she talks in a lot of detail about really like technical knitting things, and I really love that. I don't have the speaking skills to do that very often. So I enjoyed watching her go through all of that and going through the math of things and the technical aspects. Anyway, and she has a really cool like vintage style, and that's really cute. So I've been rewatching some of those, and that might be all. Oh, there's going to be another acquisition coming up. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, on that note, me feeling guilty for no reason whatsoever because I'm allowed to buy yarn. That's it. I'm gonna go make some tea and knit and watch something fun. So I hope you have a great day. I will see you next week, and hopefully I'll have something finished to show you, something really big that I can wear to show you. I also finished another project, and if I can figure out how to put a picture in, because I gave it away already and it's just teeny tiny, I'll include that. If not, maybe look on my Instagram. All the information will be down below. No links in case they go to Ravelry and give you a migraine or worse. So Google it yourself. Anyway, have a great day. Love you guys. Bye.